What's up, everybody? This is Alex from Heavy New York, invading California for NAMM 2019, and today we are here with Beasto Blanco. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for having us, Alex.
Yeah, it's so great to have you guys here. You just announced an epic tour with Halestorm coming up, right?
Yeah, we're really excited about that one. You know, Lizzie and Joe are some dear friends of ours, and we love the band. We're proud of their success. I got to tell you, it's just a real honor. It just sounds like a tour that I'd want to go see, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I love their music, and I just think it's such a great fit. And so I'm really excited to go and, get everybody all psyched up for them to come on stage. And we've got some new things to show you, so we're pretty excited about that.
Awesome. Some new music, right? I think the last record came out in 2016?
Yeah, I think that, or right at the end of 2015. So, yeah, we've got a new album coming out. I think they were saying, April 12th is looking at the... That's the rumor. So we got that thing. We've been burning our ears with it. We've heard it now probably a few hundred times, you know. So can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it. We're really excited. Beasto is really starting to develop our thing, which is neat to hear. It's fun to be part of the process. From where we started, which I love our beginnings, but how the road has changed us and how much the touring we've done has changed us, from arenas to small clubs, touring throughout the U.S. and Europe. So it's just it's really fun to hear the growth of the band and get the opportunity to take it out on tour with Halestorm in April and May, and also we got some dates in February as well over in Florida.
Awesome.
And, I think about the new record, too. I've just been telling people this. We have heard it 7,000 times, and I'm not tired of it.
That's
you know
impressive.
What I mean? But it is
that's
really
more impressive than the music itself.
I've been doing this for so long, and I come from a musical family and stuff. And there comes a point you're making a record where you're like, okay, skip. You know what I mean? And I always mean to. I go, I want to skip to this song, but the record starts, and I go, yeah. I just love this record. Truly back it 100%. I'm such a fan of what he did on it and what the writers did and the musicians. It's so good. I can't wait for it to come out because I just want to play it for everybody. And I'm like, oh no, I won't.
Yeah. When it comes to making new music, is there something that always comes first? Is there like a vocal concept that maybe you guys write around, or is there are you a guitar-driven band, or do you have to hear rhythm? Is there ever something that comes first, or is the making of every song just its own experience?
Differing opinions on this.
Yeah, for me, I know that there's a lot of listening to music before I start the process of writing music. So I'll spend some time. Calico's has a very vast music library that she likes. There's so many different bands, so I love kind of just listening to her favorite mixtapes, and so we sort of just sit around. I know I do. I sit around for a while just listening to music, and then I just sort of let the muse flow, and when what happens. I don't try to do anything except what I think is happening naturally. So with Beasto, there are no rules. There's definitely a sound to the way I approach a melody or my vocal or things like that. But the beautiful thing about Beasto Blanco and writing for Beasto Blanco is that there is this real separation of personalities. So you got somebody like myself, who's got this certain tonality to their vocal and to their lyric content, and then you can turn around and you have somebody like Calico with a completely different dynamic and different vocal tone. So the approach is a little different. So there's things we can do that are a lot, that I couldn't necessarily get away with as the singer of that song that she can. So it makes it exciting because we know that the record is going to just have so many different variables and different peaks and valleys for all types of different listeners. So you don't have to be just a fan of metal or rock and roll. It's also very current but it's also throwback and
pop influences.
Yeah.
We really went the full bore with it, and I think also we tour like we've been on tour for 25 years. And again, we come from bands that have been touring for 40 years, so it's I feel like we know what we're talking about, but we tour like an old school rock band, and the things that happen to us, our experiences and things like that whittle these songs. They really inform our performances. And so, we're just a grizzly old rock band, and it shows, and the music, it reflects that, I think.
And the cool thing too is just not to get go too much into it, but we really did surround ourselves with people we trusted, which is the guys in the band,
great.
obviously, but our producer who I gave him the songs and, hey, this is the verse, this is the chorus, but go ahead, feel free to dissect this thing and give me your input on what you think it needs. And he was very opinionated about
it. Cool. I've never had that before, somebody being like, no. Yeah. And you're like, no, yes. And he's like, no. Oh, okay.
And the honesty, right?
And Ryan Green did a really it meant more to him, I think, than it did us at times, and I really appreciated that as a
Beatle on this one, definitely.
Yeah, so he was able to pick things apart, and it was fun to sit there and go in and go, well, what about that bridge? How can we make it better? Or what about this verse? Do we need a third verse and lyrics and things? So I like to think of every time I'm writing a song or making a record that I'm going to get something out of it other than sonically, I'm going to become a better guitar player, a better songwriter, a better musician.
Awesome. I've never heard anybody analyze the making of a record so well. You guys get an A+ for that one.
Thank you so much.
It's the only A I've ever gotten in my life. Thank you. That and PE.
PE? Dude, yeah, underwater basket weaving.
Well, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And one other question I had for you is, as a lot of people know, you've also played with Alice Cooper.
Still do. Yeah.
You still do, and you played with Dio for a period of time as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah.
So how different of a mind frame is it in Beasto Blanco as opposed to your other projects, and does maybe playing with those musicians help influence this project, or do you keep it separate?
I don't. I've always been sort of a eyes wide open type guy. So when I go in and I was working with, and I had the honor to play with, when you mentioned the two guys, I mean, think about who you just talked about, Ronnie James Dio, and then I'm still playing with Alice Cooper. I mean, you talked about two legends, and guys that have really shaped rock and roll, heavy metal, you name it, going to see a show and what it was about going to see a show. So when I got the gig with Ronnie, I really was just sort of a student of what he was about. I knew his collection of music. I never really met the guy before, but he turned out to be one of the nicest guys I've ever worked for. So for me, I just would sit back and listen and take notice to how he built the show and what made it different for him. What type of person was he on the road? And I noticed Ronnie with his fans was so genuine and so polite and knew everybody's name. If he'd met you once, he'd remember your name. So things like that. And then being in part of Alice's show and watching Alice and Shep develop a show, write songs, working in the studio with those guys, you can't help but learn from it. And absolutely, there's a lot of Beasto that I would say I contribute a lot of the thought behind Beasto, or the sound of Beasto, to guys like Ronnie James Dio and Alice Cooper. You just can't help it because they've been such a huge part of my life and part of my career, and really has shaped me and given me, fortunately enough, a name out here in the industry where I can mention, hey, I have played with those guys, and it's an honor.
Yeah. And now for you, coming from a musical family, that's also got to really influence you as well, right?
It does too, and I think a really smart move we kind of made early on was deciding to just use my first name. You know what I mean? Because my dad loves Beasto. He backs it completely and loves the band. But I think it was one of those things where I stepped out into the singer, performer aspect of it, and that was my school, is playing all those years, with Alice and playing the nurse and stuff like that, but I never got to open my mouth. It was always using my body to talk. So I said to Chuck, I go, you know what? I think I can still use my body to talk and talk. And so we put it together, and now it's just this creature from the Black Lagoon, which I love. But, the best compliment I ever got was we performed at the NAMM Jam a few years ago. My dad was on the side of the stage, and he's watching. And at the end of the show, I jump off the riser, and I bang, smack on the ground. He turns to my mom, and he goes, I taught her everything that she knows. And I go, when's the last time you jumped off a riser? And he goes, sooner than you think. It was.
Well, the nice thing too, just real quick, just to talk about that, is that there are those influences that obviously we spoke about with Ronnie and Alice and things like that. But like we talked about earlier, is that Beasto Blanco is its own creature, its own. And Calico is sort of, she's the daughter, but man, does she hold her own. And maybe she gets it and it runs in the family. But let me tell you something, it's definitely unique. And there's nothing else like her. And if there's something that we do that's similar to somebody else, I always say, but nobody does it like Calico. And there's a real freedom to her performance. This real, just, inner spirit is out. There's no thinking about what she's doing. She's just doing. She's just reacting and going with the flow of the music, and whatever makes her feel at that time, she does. And that freedom is just so inspiring to me. So I think I'm, kicking ass up there. I'm up there playing guitar and singing, and I'm looking at people, and at times they're just looking right through me. And I think, oh, right, yeah.
It's back there.
It's back there doing its thing. But that freedom she has, I think, is something that a lot of people, I know me for one, kind of wish I do work hard to sort of let that go and just be in the moment. And if anybody ever does that or does do that, no better than it's Calico Cooper. She kicks
in the moment just because you never know what I'm going to do.
You never know.
You have to be aware of all of your angles at all the time. Because I have a bat with spikes. I'm flying around. You could get hurt. So.
She'll hurt you with the damn wireless microphone.
You can't get that from a hologram, people.
No, you cannot.
So before we go, I want to thank you guys so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
It's absolutely awesome here at NAMM 2019. You got this awesome tour with Halestorm coming up. I know that you got some new music coming out that we just talked about. Is there anything else from the Beasto Blanco camp that we could be expecting?
Yeah, man. Just keep your ears peeled. I mean, BeastoBlanco.com. Obviously, all things social media. We've got a lot of really cool videos coming out to support this album as well. A couple that Calico's directed, which is now another little piece of the puzzle that she adds to this.
I'm infecting this whole band.
Oh my God!
I'll just sing a little bit. Now I'm like, ha ha ha.
Taking over the record. I'm like, hey, can I sing a song? No, but she kills it. She's directing and writing, and we're really proud of the record. So thanks for the time and giving us a chance to promote this band. And we look forward to seeing everybody on the Halestorm run. And also February, we'll be doing the Monsters of Rock pre-party cruise and doing a couple runs around the Florida area. So
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thanks so much, man.
Everybody, Beasto Blanco, catch them with Halestorm and new music coming soon. We'll see you next time, everybody.